for staying with us on our television. You are welcome to Issues of the Moment. I am Sunday, and my guest today is Jacob Eddy. Jacob Eddy is the Special Advisor, Information and Communication to Kogi State Government. He's also the Kakaki Basangi, and we used to call him Karawan. At a point, he was the chairman, NUJ FCT Council. Jacob, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let us begin by discussing about in a few days now, today's government, both federal and state, will be celebrating second anniversary of this very, very administration. What will you think Nigerians will beat their chests and be proud of that this government, starting from the central, has achieved so far?
Well, things are a bit difficult in Nigeria now, but the explanation given by government, and which we are beginning to see, is that the president needed to take tough decisions so that things will get better. And I think we are there now. Sorry, please. I think we are there now. The president actually displayed courage to take those decisions that people before him refused or were unable or were scared to take because of the immediate impact of it. It's like someone who is hooked on drug. Once you pull him or her away from it, sometimes a lot of people don't survive.
Yeah, that's reaction.
Exactly. A lot of them don't survive the impact. But for those who are resilient and survive the impact, they are off it. The addiction almost took forever. So this is where we are. What is or was or where is the tough decision? Because we run a mono economy, everything we have had to do is around the oil sector. So when the president announced that subsidy was gone, he opened the system and opened Nigerians, he opened them to a lot of pains, a lot of hardship, because we were not used to it. We were taking painkillers all this while. But what was the cause of the ailment? Nobody seemed to bother about it. So this was why things became very, very tough. But almost 2 years down the line, we are beginning to see that decision has a longer impact, longer positive effect on the people of Nigeria. And this is where we are today.
But you know, Nigerians are not good at taking things that will put pains in their body. Because one, if you talk about fuel subsidy, it has been removed since May 29, 2 years ago. We are heading to another May 29. Are you seeing, because that subsidy removal alone brought up so many things. Fuel increase, food, transportation. Now, how many people, because of that, I can tell you that some civil servants don't go to work, they work from home now. Do you think this is the best of it?
Well, the issue of whether it is the best or not is immaterial here. The issue is that the government has come and has taken a decision. And you see, this is what you must take note of. All the presidential aspirants or candidates at the time who went into that,
they talked about fuel subsidy.
All of them spoke about
it. Yeah.
It means that at some point, our leaders have come to an agreement.
But not holistic.
Excuse me. Our leaders have come to the agreement that this must be the problem of Nigeria. And until you solve this problem, you cannot go any step further. So what President Tinubu did is do the same problem in his own way and his own understanding of the dynamics as he understood it. Whether you like it or not, he's the man on the saddle. And Nigerians were conscious of the differences in the promises of all the political parties and their presidential candidates. They opted for President Tinubu. It means that Nigerians felt that it was the best of the options presented before them. Yes, are things difficult? no doubt. And I don't think government will be insensitive to deny the fact that things are difficult. No, I mean they have the courage to admit that things are difficult. But the second leg of it is that after this difficulty, what next? Yeah. And this is where we are. So if in 2 years, a decision that was taken 2 years ago, we are getting to the second year of this government, and things are beginning to calm down. People are even, I mean, the situation made Nigerians to tighten their belt, so to say. So some frivolities, nobody will tell you to kick it aside, and you face the real deal. Developed economy.
You said a while ago that all the presidential aspirants or candidates in 2023 can vouch for this fuel subsidy.
Yes.
But some of them today are talking about the harsh way it was being removed. They said they would have done it if it had been their turn. In stages, you put something in place, then you can remove. But this one, there was nothing in place.
The people that are telling you today they will do it in stages, did they also say so when they were campaigning? But they have seen the backlash now. And so they are trying to tell you how better or how best they could have done it. If they had won the election, because they said they were going to remove a subsidy on fuel, they still would have done it. So it's not like, this is the point, it's not like they told Nigerians then that we will do it in phases. Everybody knew that to continue to live on the subsidy was a disaster waiting to happen. Maybe the little alteration should have been that the corruption in the subsidy should be what they are fighting today. Because the problem is that there is nowhere in the world that government does not subsidize issues of welfare to the citizens of the country. No, so it is not abnormal if the oil is even subsidized. But the problem is the corruption in the subsidy itself was the problem.
Was endemic.
Exactly.
Now, thank God you agree that government must subsidize certain.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like right now, Nigeria, fuel is not subsidized, electricity is not subsidized. So many things are not being subsidized. Are we going to be like this? Because we don't even know in a few days' time when they are doing these celebrations, what other subsidies that will be heaped on Nigerians again. Like so many tariffs have been cut off. So what do you think Nigeria is heading to?
You must understand, when you study political leaders, you must take into account their pedigree. You must take into account their history. President Tinubu is a product of a tax economy. He was governor of Lagos.
Yes.
And if he was not a man who believed in taxation, at the time he had issues with the then President Olusegun Obasanjo, and he was not getting money from federal allocation, the government of Lagos State would have collapsed. What helped Lagos State government and the people of Lagos State is that they had a leader at the time who believed in taxation. Again, there's nowhere in the world that government does not run on tax and taxation. Today as we speak, the governors have more money for developmental efforts. In the days of subsidy, that didn't happen. So you must also look at that. In many states today, and I talk about APC states because that is the information that I have readily available, salaries are paid as at when due. Don't forget that a lot of states today are also running with the federal salary scale. So it is because these are some of the advantages of subsidy removal.
Not all have paid.
Most of them. Yes, I didn't say all.
Okay.
Most of them. Most of them are doing so. Kogi State, for instance, is doing so. Kogi pays salaries as at when due. We have never had it that good in Kogi State. So workers in Kogi,
we are coming to Kogi State.
No, we will get there. But I'm telling you that workers in Kogi State today are better off than they were before because salaries are being paid as at when due.
No more half salary.
No more. The issue of half salary is gone. In fact, the workers of Kogi have forgotten that at a point they were battling with those kind of crises because of what government.
Okay, let's come back to They should not, like, because a few days ago, well, at least we, Nigeria here, we had Burkina Faso that is under a military regime now, said water is free, light is free for us. There is the responsibility of the government to take care of all those things. Do you see that happening in Nigeria?
Well, nothing is impossible, but you must also put into account that a military government tried to be populist because they have a shorter lifespan than a democratic government. That is one. Number two, the population of Burkina Faso and the population of Nigeria does not define that we should run on such freebies or social policy just because you want to be populist. How, for instance, under normal circumstances, the military government in Burkina Faso shouldn't stay for long. So yes, if he has a program of 2 years, he can run it. But I can assure you that economically, the democratic government that will take over from him will suffer the effect of such freebies. So I don't easily try to draw a parallel between a democratic government
And a military.
government. The dynamics of the operation of the two governments are not usually the same. So I don't want to compare Nigeria with Burkina Faso.
Okay, let's look at this, because one, you just came here. As you came into the studio, you talked about a particular thing. Let's talk about insecurity in Nigeria now. When will Nigeria get out of this? Because with all that the federal government has spent arming the military to attack and quell insurgency, in fact, instead it is increasing. From Boko Haram, we have ISWAP, we have now the La Carua or whatever name called, and there's another group that is coming. When are we getting out of this?
Well, if I sit down here and tell you when we will get out of it, then I'll be unrealistic, because even the military generals have not had the courage to tell us when we will get out of it. But are things better? Yes. Things are better now in terms of security.
How?
Because
You
now,
cannot travel.
no. They are not like the one. Like people who fly Abuja Kaduna route, they will tell you that it is not as rampant as it used to be. In the days of Buhari, there is no day that passes and you will not hear that 1, 2, 3, 4 people, tens of people, thousands of people are being kidnapped. But today you don't have it. Of course, you can't talk about Kogi is very safe. Abuja Kogi is very, very safe. And of course, that speaks to the dexterity of the current governor of Kogi State. So yes, insecurity, I think, to some extent, is coming down. But in the last couple of days, I started thinking, because some of the informations I get indicate that there seem to be, I don't want to use the word collaboration, but something close to it between some aspect of security forces and the kidnappers. And when we did some social analysis, you realize that some of the security people who are supposed to protect Nigeria are also going through challenges. They are going through challenges to the extent that when the terrorists try to tempt them with one or two things, they fall, they are human. So government must also invest in the welfare of these security personnel. Because yes, you can buy all the sophisticated equipments. Those equipments don't operate themselves. Somebody operates this equipment. So the man who is operating the equipment must have a very stable mind, so to do. So their welfare is also important. Government should look into the welfare of some of these security agents.
In other words, you cannot give 100% pass mark to the military because of, at least when you weigh it with the expenditure that government has done so far in terms of supplying equipment and all those things.
If you put it in terms of percentage, you would have that would have been a simplistic approach to studying the issue we're talking about. Our military people are even trying. Don't forget that insurgency happened. So they needed.
It's like fighting the unknown.
They needed a lot of time to even understand what they are actually fighting. They didn't have that time. just happen on them. But things are getting better now. They are recording a lot of successes. But I will also advise the military to reduce how they try to popularize, I mean, no, to sing about their successes. Because sometimes when you go through social media, you see that even the tactics they are using are all on the social media. From what I gathered, some of these insurgents are quite intelligent. Some of them are engineers and both. Some of them are graduates. So they are intelligent. They are not just idiots doing it. It is now like a business. It's a huge business. Look at the amount of money that is involved. You see kidnappers asking for 100 million, 300 million. And I keep asking, can such monies be spent outside the banking system? And the common man is disturbed every day about BVN. Every day they disturb a common man, they need his BVN. What is going on? There must be some very strong internal conspiracy around the banking system where such monies will be spent and they cannot trace it. Something must be done.
Now again, just look at it that the kidnappers or terrorists, don't they go to bank where these people, where they can trace them into? Because do you think all this money they collect from people, they just put it in their homes and whatever? Because it's traceable. It should be traceable.
Once I'm able to ask this question, they should arrest me from here. That means I'm one of them. I don't know what they do with the money. But what I know is that huge amount of money is being circulated around terrorists and kidnappers and insurgents.
Yes.
So something is going on that we need to understand. How are they spending this money? What do they do with the money? Do they have backers? Do they have financiers? Where are they even getting the arms and ammunition from? I'm told that they use very, very sophisticated equipment.
Yeah. Now they have started applying drones.
Exactly. This is quite dangerous. Maybe government should also turn all the forests into farming centers.
Wait, I want you to, before we go to Kogi State now, because a few days ago we hear that President Tinubu has given an approval for forest guards nationwide for them to man the forest, and there are about 3,000 of them at the moment in different locations. Do you think this will help curb this insecurity that we're talking about?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. And we must commend the president for such ingenuity. So this is to let you know that the president is not resting on his oars. Different approaches are being developed to curb the insecurity in the country, and that is one of them. So the president should be commended, and I call on Nigeria to embrace some of these policies. But I also want to advise the political class not to politicize appointment or employment into this forest guard. It should be by merit. It should be purely professional, because by the time a politician gets his way and maybe get about 10 or 20 or 40 people from his community to show that he's working, and you flood the place with it, you have killed the forest guard. So it should be completely professionalized. We are at a time in this country now where you can't afford such political freebies.
Okay, now let's come to the area of
Core competence.
core competence. Kogi State.
Yeah.
What is happening in Kogi State now?
Everything good is happening in Kogi State. Everything you can imagine that is good is happening in Kogi State. I just started talking about payment of salaries. Prompt payment of salaries. Projects are going on. Just last week, His Excellency the Governor Ododo, approved the construction of road around the entire state. So every local government headquarters, as we speak, is a beehive of activities. Road construction, hospital construction, dispensaries, they are all going on at once in Kogi State. I don't know of other states, but that plenty money that governors are said to be getting is working in Kogi State.
But you see, one thing that seemed to have given a dent to Governor Ododo was he's stopping the EFCC at a point. And do you think that stigma, that toga is out of him now?
Well, this is a
You
long
know what
time
I'm saying?
now. However, no, I mean, I can speak to it. First of all, it is completely wrong to say that that Governor Ododo stopped EFCC from doing its work. It's completely, totally wrong. I don't know the picture you saw. I don't know the information you got. Yeah, Governor Ododo does not bear arms. So how will he?
No, he used the power of immunity.
No, if you see,
Immunity is more than bearing arms.
well, this is a matter of interpretation. He does not bear arms, but as the chief security officer of Kogi State, if any indigene of Kogi State is in a situation, the best person to call will also have been the governor of the state. He didn't stop EFCC. The journey from Lokoja to Abuja is not less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
EFCC had arrived the residence of the former governor, Alhaji Yaya Bello. So you mean in 2 hours they were unable to do anything until Ododo came, or what? So look at it.
Ododo was in town.
Look
at that material time.
Let us assume.
He was in. No,
without
don't assume.
conceding that
we
he
were
was
here.
in town.
Don't assume.
No, you
we
can't
were here
say
when they
because
sent us an alert and we rushed down
what
there.
makes you think that that alert is even credible? Let's assume
It's credible because we went there and saw the scene.
let's assume he was in town.
Yeah.
They don't live in the same house.
They don't live in the same house.
So do you think that EFCC could not have effected their arrest within 5 or 10 minutes before he came? Don't forget that the same Governor Yaya Bello, on his own, willingly, voluntarily, went to EFCC compound, their national headquarters, and he walked out. Was Ododo there?
He was not
No,
there.
was Ododo there? Why were they unable to arrest him? So if EFCC is unable to arrest former Governor Yaya Bello, it is purely the problem of EFCC. His Excellency Governor Ododo has nothing to do with it. It is not. He has nothing to do with it. And I've told you here, the governor does not bear arms.
Yeah, you know. But he bears an immunity.
Well, it depends on how you interpret
Which is more than arms.
It depends on but as much as he bears immunity, he's still a law-abiding citizen.
Well, let us leave that. Let's leave that alone and go to other issues like Kogi State. That I know, at least I've been there for some time. It's an agrarian community,
No doubt.
What is the governor planning, at least to do things differently than what he met on ground?
Part of the things he did before the farming season was to allow farmers in the state to enjoy subsidy on fertilizer. Every local government got number of bags of fertilizer at highly subsidized rate for their farmers. And he instructed, I remember, that this fertilizer is not for APC farmers. It's for these indigenes
Of Kogi State.
Kogi State. At that point, he had already entered his role as the governor of Kogi State, not as an APC governor. You see, this is part of the problem that politicians have sometimes.
Yeah.
This kind of political party segregation. Forgetting that when the roads are good, when the taps are working, when everything is going well, it is not just about your own people. So he gave that direct instruction that this fertilizer is for farmers in Kogi State. That was at the beginning of the farming season.
You see,
What does that tell you? That is being proactive.
Yeah.
He didn't wait until it was farming season and then the farmers now will have to scamper to get fertilizer for their products. No, he thought of it before the time came.
You see, the governor might make that pronouncement, which is of course very, very good. But between the governor and the farmers, they are middlemen. Can you trust these middlemen Because the governor cannot be there with them to check all of them.
Well, in Kogi State, the style that Governor Ludo is using is not completely the normal type. It's not your run-of-the-mill governor. So he gets personally involved in some of these disbursements. He supervises it. He's in touch constantly with the those who are in charge of disbursement, those who are in charge of ensuring that even the disbursement. So there are different layers of monitoring some of these policies. So it's directly involved in what is going on in the state. And so I can assure you that that fear you are expressing,
No, because it's a fear
no,
that
it's normal, but that fear you are expressing is unfounded
in Kogi State.
under Governor Odudu.
Okay, well, before I let you go, special advisor, let me take you to one thing. There's one thing that National Assembly is trying to do now. Of course, it has passed second reading, compulsory voting. That every Nigerian who is a registered voter must vote, otherwise there is a fine or you go to prison. In fact, people are wondering, when I don't know if my vote will count, how will you now make it compulsory for me to vote?
No, votes count, definitely votes count. But the opinion I will give here is my personal opinion. And it is that it is even operationally possible for everybody to vote. What happens if somebody with a voting card is sick on the day of election?
That's it.
Was that factored in? That's one. Number two, a lot of people have voting cards from their villages and they work in other parts of the country. So will this system also make logistics available? Maybe what they should have talked about is to make laws that you cannot vote almost from anywhere.
Anywhere, because
like it's done in advance.
Like you use your ATM card that
exactly.
you have it in Abuja, you go to anywhere in the
this
country.
Is what I think they should have done, to criminalize somebody's inability to vote without any caveat. Caveat would have been if this person is ill. That's a difference.
Yeah.
Or something. Okay, like an accident can occur. What happens? Are you now going to jail the person or get fined from somebody who was unable to vote because he had an accident?
Like journalists who will go out of their place to cover election,
exactly.
Policemen who will be assigned to other places,
essential workers.
Essential workers. What happens? Or is there going to be an early voting point?
Maybe they need to go back to the fireworks and rework the bill. For it is operationally impossible.
Well, I think that's a very good place to anchor it there. We are talking about, we have talked about some national issues here and narrowed down to Kogi State. I have been here with Kakaki Basange, Chief Jacob Eddy, Special Advisor, Information and Communication to Kogi State Government, and of course I must add that he was my chairman, NUJ FCT Council.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, viewers.